Hi, I'm Kevin. In today's video, I'm going to go through some of the steps that I took to winterize my vehicle. My car is a 2009 4S. I do like to use it for trips up to Vermont, but also throughout the winter, I like to take my car out. So in a previous week, I changed the coolant on the car. The car is 11 years old, so I made the decision to change the coolant. Just in a summary, what I had to do for that is there's two drain plugs for the coolant underneath the car. So open those up, and about 2 gallons comes out from the, let's say, the engine block. To get a little bit more out, let's say, because the radiators are in the front of the car, you have to open up some of the hoses so that the car can better drain. Uh, Putting the coolant in, what I did was, well, first, to drain, I had the back of the car lower, so this way the water would come from the front of the car. I turned the ignition on. The car wasn't running, but I turned the ignition on and put the heater on with the fan on low speed, so that the coolant would come out of there, and that drained pretty good. I got more than 4 gallons, which I'm happy about. It's about 6 gallons total antifreeze in the car. So then I put the coolant in. There's a nice, let's say, capability to bleed the coolant. I knew before I changed the coolant, the temperature for the engine was typically, the water was typically 175, and I've been able to get the temperature to be right there where it was previously. So I'm pretty confident that I got the air out of the car when I changed the coolant. Today I changed the oil. It doesn't get any easier changing the oil on this car, so I'm not really going to go into any great details about that. But it's nice. Today is a relatively mild day, so it was a great opportunity to do the oil change and to take the tires off that I used during most of the year, and put the winter snow tires on. So that's pretty much what I'm going to go through now. I'll also be taking care of the surface of the car. I'll give it a nice wash, and then I'll put either a wax or a sealant on the paint, because you're going to encounter road salts. So I want the paint to have the most protection that it can. I'm probably going to use a sealant because that's going to last a few months. A wax tends to last 1 to 2 months if you're lucky. If you have if you want to use a wax, you'll have to reapply it if you really want to give the paint the most protection. So I'll take you through that paint protection after this. I'm going to take you through some of the steps that I go through to try and protect the surface of the vehicle as we head into the winter time. So first thing you gotta do is wash the car. The wheels on this car, I just put the winter tires on earlier today. They're really dirty, so I'm going to give them a good cleaning. You usually work on the dirtiest part because if you're cleaning the wheels, it might splash onto the paint of the car. So let's get those done first. Then I'll move to the paint surface, starting at the top of the car. Let the water cascade down the body, and then I'll work on the windows. So some of the things I'm going to do in order to, let's say, help best protect the car against the road salts that it's going to experience is put a sacrificial layer onto the paint. So you do that with a wax or a sealant. So just to give you some examples of a wax, this is a pretty good product, a Caranuba wax. Gives the car a nice shine. A thing with a natural wax, it's going to last a month or so. I really like this wax in the summertime. It gives the car some good protection, nice shine. But I'm going to go with a synthetic sealant. This is just an example. I have Meguiar's synthetic sealant. This is another one, classy. They all have their pluses and minuses, so do your research, then see what works best for you. For the glass, I'm going to use a clay bar just to get the surface nice and clean. And or you could also, as another alternative, these Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. They work really well. Here's a product from Rain-X for cleaning the glass. And then to make the surface of the glass hydrophobic, your water sheet off of the glass, there's a couple different products. You've probably seen that, Rain-X is famous for their product that you can use on the glass. Here's another one, Aquapel. This is something I'm going to apply onto the car today. And that hydrophobic, that ability to sheet water off of the windshield, as an example, it helps with you're seeing better when it's raining or snowing. And if you have a clean windshield, that enhances your safety. So for washing the car, I have a wash bucket, and I have clean water in one bucket and soapy water in another, and going to proceed with that step. Okay, so I'm going to begin preparing the wheels. You can see these wheels are pretty dirty. So what I have a bucket that I use just for the wheels, because the wheels are always so dirty. I don't want to, let's say, use this as a bucket when I'm cleaning the paint on the car, because there's always going to be some brake dust, and brake dust equals metal, metallic material. So let's give these a rinse. And I have some wheel cleaner here. Getting inside the barrels. Has this P&S brake buster wheel cleaner. So I'm gonna make sure I put plenty of suds on the brush here. The soap, the suds equals lubricant. So your wheels, the surface of the wheels are painted just like here, the body of your car. So you don't want to be too aggressive with it. This is a special brush for wheels. So it allows you to get in there, clean the barrels. The bristles aren't too stiff. Okay. So that brush is pretty dirty. I don't want to put that in the water, because then that makes the water in the bucket contaminated. So I'm going to spray this off the heavy dirt. Then I'll put that in the bucket. Okay, this is a nice soft brush for the surface, the face of the wheel. The caliper. That off. Okay. When I mounted the wheels yesterday on the, let's say the surface of the hub of the wheel, I put a little anti-seize, just a very little, let's say copper paste. And that helps me when I need to change the tires, they haven't rusted to the hub of the car. So you don't want to put too much, and but it does help when you're changing the tires. Okay. Again, you want to clean this brush off before you dump it. IronX is it chemically removes the iron particles. So when you apply the brakes on your car, the brake discs clamp onto the rotor, and the rotor is metal. So that brake dust, it has metal particles in there. So the nice thing about IronX is chemically removes that, bonds with the iron particles and lifts them off the surface. You know it's working when it's chemically reacting. This is going to turn purple. That's kind of the signature of IronX. I'll just give it a moment to give it a chance to work. And IronX, these type of products, they're safe to get onto the paint as well. They're pH neutral. So you always want to try and use products in your car which are as gentle as possible. You may have to agitate with a brush, but I'd rather do a little bit of work than use something which is so chemically strong that I don't have to scrub, because that's, generally speaking, that's going to damage the surface. Like I said, this has clear coat on it, your wheels, just like the paint on your car. So again, I'm going to go in now. Get the barrels nice and clean. Okay, rinse this off. Get some suds. Now do the surface. Do the tire. Okay. So now this is going to be ready. I'm gonna have to do the other three wheels, but this is a nice clean surface for when I want to put the protection. Okay, I've prepared the wheels. Now I'm going to wash the car, and just some points I'd like to make about washing the car. You don't want to use like a dish detergent. Dish detergent is meant to cut through fat. We could think of wax, which protects the paint on your car, as fat. So you don't want to take all the wax off your car. You want to use a proper car wash. Dish detergent is too harsh. And you don't want to use something like this. The surface of this is very flat. So if you have any kind of dirt, dust, debris on your car, this is in effect becomes like sandpaper. Because there's nowhere for the particles of dirt to hide. You don't want to use something even like this, even if it says Porsche on it. So no sponges. You want to use a microfiber cloth. This is the best information we have. These will help you from putting scratches into your paint. So regarding the car wash, excuse me. There's things like this which are, they wax and wash your car. These are things, I tend to put this, like when I'm doing my wheels and I want to get some suds, I'll use something cheap like this. P21 makes a good car shampoo. You get a nice lather with this. This is a real nice thick car wash soap. You get a nice lather with this. The point is, buy something which is quality. That car wash, it makes the microfiber cloth slide, so it offers a lubricant. So you want to do everything you can to try and minimize introducing scratches and swirls into your paint. So I'm going to start by, and I also have my 2 buckets ready. So I have one bucket which I use just to rinse the mitt, and the other one, I'm going to put some soap in here. So just follow the directions. You can see how thick that is. And you want to get a lot of suds. To think of the suds as lubricant, right? So yeah, let it foam up. Okay, and start at the top of the car. It tends to be the least dirty. So I have this relatively clean water, cascade down the body of the car. I'll start at the top. Okay, so I've got the car all sudsed up. Some of the things I just want to take you through, basically washed the top. This area on my car was pretty clean. As you get lower down in the car is dirtier, so I usually leave the rocker panel to last. As the name implies, the rocker panels, that's where the tires kick up dirt and rocks on the lower, let's say lower 1/3 of the sides of the car. Something I recommend you do with the windshield wipers, with your microfiber mitt, clean them. I mean, these things, think about when you've got your windshield wipers on, they're going back and forth on your windshield, they're going the bugs, the dust, so they get really dirty. And in the wintertime, you want to have as clear vision as you can while you're driving. So clean them off, and you'd be surprised how much longer they'll last before they start squeaking and wear out. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse the car. Okay, I'm going to go through cleaning the glass before I put on some Winterizer treatment. So basically I have a good auto glass cleaner. So auto glass cleaner doesn't have ammonia in it. So I have 2 cloths. This one is a low nap microfiber cloth. And I'm going to, let's say, clean the glass with this microfiber, and then I'm going to come back and buff it dry with a second microfiber. By using 2 cloths, you're less likely to have streaking. Okay, I'm ready to move on to applying paint protection. Like I said, you could use a wax. A wax, generally speaking, is going to last a month or 2. Wax is, let's say, all natural. I'm going to use a synthetic product, a sealant. So I happen to just have this in my collection of products. So this sealant is going to last a couple months. So hopefully, that would take me through it'll provide protection through the winter months. So always read the directions from the manufacturer. Every product's going to be different with the specifications. This says to apply a very thin film. So if the manufacturer is telling you to apply a thin film, they have a vested interest sometimes in selling products. So if they tell you to apply a thin film, apply a thin film, and then let it dry. So I'm going to let's say work on the hood first on the car, and then go from there. So just this is a very soft microfiber cloth that I'm using. Just put a little product here. You might want to work in a smaller section than that. I basically did half the hood. You might want to do 1/4. Box the work area Right now I have kind of ideal conditions here, so I'm inside. It's nice and cool, so the product's not drying too fast, so I could work in a little bit bigger area. If you were working outside and the sun was shining, the product is going to tend to dry quicker. So you kind of have to use your judgment when it comes to that. So I'm looking at the product, seeing if it is dry, and then I'm going to wipe it off. So I'm going to do the whole car, and then I'll come back and we'll do a wrap. Hi, I just want to review the steps that I took to winterize my car. A couple of weeks ago I looked at the maintenance schedule, and my car's a 2009. It was getting to the point where the coolant I felt needed to be changed. I have a tester, so verified that it was less than optimal. So 2 weeks ago I changed the coolant. I also needed an oil change, so I did that yesterday. And I have winter tires for the car, so when the temperatures are dipping below freezing, you really want to have either all season or winter tires. So my car's all-wheel drive. I like to take it up into the mountains. So I put those on today. I'm going to put air. A couple of the tires are low. So when it comes to winterizing the exterior of the car, I gave it a good wash, and then I chose to put a sealant on the paint. Sealant is typically going to last about 6 months, so it's going to provide a barrier to road salts, the harsh weather conditions that your car is going to encounter during the winter months. You could choose wax. A wax is a good choice. It's a natural product. It typically lasts 1 to 3 months, but I chose the longer lasting sealant. I also put a sealant on the glass, so we'll see how that works out. Now, from a concours perspective, thinking about, let's say, washing your car, preparing it for an event, some of the things that it would be ideal if you could prepare your car a week in advance. And then that gives you the opportunity to take a look at the car in the, let's say, the bright sun, bright light. And some of the things that I would look for, water tends to, let's say, be behind lenses like this in the body of the car. So as you put your car in the driveway, it's going to drip. So you want to check and see if you have any watermarks. Mirrors, also the door handles. Those are areas where water can sometimes gather, and you dry the car, but then the water would drip down later. So you want to check for watermarks there. The glass has a very large surface area on the car, so you want to make sure that you don't have any smears, any smudges. So that's something in the bright light. Look at it from different angles. Something that often it's a little bit harder to see the lower portion of your car, so I would recommend standing a few feet back and look over the car itself. It's very easy, like standing here at the car looking down on it, but give yourself some perspective. And those are things that I would recommend, whether you're entering an event or you just want your car to look as good as it can possibly be. So I hope you found the video helpful, and we'll talk soon. Take care.